just waiting for everything to connect and for people to jump in. So I've just clicked broadcast now, so that means we are going live. It just takes a few seconds for everyone to be able to link up. So get yourselves comfy, grab a drink if you need to, and we will get started. Fantastic, looks like we're all here. So we're going to start today, this session, looking at, good morning, Eva, how are you? Looking at engaging online lessons. And I've had a bit of a to and fro with myself when I've been organising and planning this for you, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like and kind of how that came to be, and why I've had a little bit of not an argument with myself, but a bit of discomfort around what to share and what angle to really take here with everything that's going on. So that's kind of helped me shape together where we are and what I'm offering today. And I hope that what you get out of this is really going to resonate in that space. So we'll unpack that. Let's get into it. So as we go through today's session, this is really about you, because you are the one delivering lessons. You are the ones providing learning for your students. You're the ones that are doing the engaging online stuff. And so this has to be about helping you be able to move forward, and also clarifying any questions or discomforts or wonderings that you might have in this space. So we're going to ask for really high engagement from you today and participation. So you can do that in a few different ways. You'll notice on your screen you should have a little chat box somewhere, or the option to open up a chat box. And that allows you to type comments or questions or anything. And when you type in that box, there's a little drop down that says you can send it to all panelists. So that's the Real Schools team, or what we'd love it to do is for it to go to everyone. So everyone who is an attendee at the moment and participating can see those comments too. So if you can find that little chat box when you're typing in it, just make sure it's set to everyone, and then everyone will be able to join in the conversation and get value from that as well. And there's also a Q&A box. We're going to try and stick though to the chat box and really have all our communication through there. Although if you do have a desperate question, I have that open just in case, but let's try and put them all through the chat box, because I will be checking that regularly, and I'll let you know when I'm about to do that. So if that sounds good to you, we will keep going. I always think it's important to check in with ourselves when we start this. And so if you've been on one of the other webinars I've run before, I've done this, and I'm going to start here again today. How are you? How are you feeling? This is your chance also to check your chat box is working, so you can jump on and put in a comment there. And it also lets me know that everything is working. So yeah, just one word is fine. You don't have to elaborate. You can if you like. But how are you feeling? Fine. Tired, okay, good, unsure, overwhelmed, tired. I'm actually feeling tired today. Confession, I usually drink tea at this time, and I'm having a second cup of coffee, and I don't normally do that. So yeah, I'm feeling the tired thing too. Loving working from home, great. Yeah, hopeful, happy and positive, but still a lot to learn. I think that's all of us, isn't it? We all can definitely be happy and positive about this, but there is still so much for us to learn going into this space. It really is unknown. Better now that you're home. Yeah, so going through that uncertainty of, is school going to close? Is school not closing? Are we waiting? So I know some of you are on holidays, which is fantastic for you because you are at home, so you do have that time and space now. Going through that moment of, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, can be really unsettling in a lot of ways. Just on that, I think it's really important, if you are finding that moment of feeling unsettled and uncertain, to do as much as you can to bring certainty to yourself. So as teachers, we are really confined by the bell in a way, and we live our life to routine. And when that's taken away from us, we don't often reflect on how much that was impacting us. So if you're feeling a little bit uncertain, one of the things that you really can do to help is build some routine and structure in your life, so you have certainty around what you can control. So just if that's something that works for you, I know it certainly helps in my day to be able to eliminate any wariness I might be feeling about what's going to happen, because at least I can still kind of control the minutes in my day to a certain degree. Fantastic. Sad. Yeah, I spoke to my a really great friend of mine. She's a teacher in Queensland on the weekend, and she was beside herself sad. Teaches year one, taught kindergarten last year, so has had her students follow her up for 2020 and had to say goodbye to them and doesn't know when she's going to see them again. And it's heartbreaking for us as teachers to say goodbye to students who make up so much of our world. I totally get that. Fantastic. Okay, so you'll notice in our chat box as well, you'll be able to see everyone's comments. So thanks everyone for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Those vulnerable moments are really useful. And we also have Adam and Simon in there as well, who are going to share the next webinars coming up that we are running in this series. So you'll be able to see links there too along the way. So check in with that. Okay, so this whole webinar today is really based on engaging online lessons. And it's an interesting thing because as we shift from what we know teaching to be, we're having to go down this path which is completely foreign, yet that idea of still running something engaging that our students connect with, that our students find interesting and fun is high priority. But how do we do that in an environment that's unknown? And I think one of the best things we can do here is really go back to what we know to be essential, to be effective, to be engaging in our classrooms. So when you're teaching in a classroom, what does engaging teaching look like for you? How do you get high engagement in your classroom? Let's throw some other words out there. What does that look like? Fun, discussions, humor, hands-on stuff, yeah. Play-based, relevant, modeled, collaboration, active learning, creative. Yeah, so we know that all of those things make engaging lessons. Spontaneous, high energy. Yeah, following the kids' wanderings. So going with them, boosting up their curiosity. Yeah. And all of those things that we do to create those engaging lessons are predominantly built on our classroom and our environment and how we set up our room. And all of a sudden that's been taken away from us. And we don't have that same environment because our environment is now screen. Our environment is like this. So I think when it comes to building engaging online lessons, we have to remind ourselves that these are all the things we know build engagement and these are all the things we do well. But it shouldn't be that we don't do them anymore or we can't do them. It has to be a new way of thinking. So how are we going to have student voice in our online learning? How are we going to have fun? How can we still have hands-on even though we're not physically there to maybe facilitate that environment or provide the resources or make things happen? How can we still deliver high energy and have high energy in our lessons because our students engage with that, even though it's not everyone in the same room together when we know energy is built off each other? So when I was reflecting on how I was going to put this together for you, I just want to share a little bit about that because I'm seeing kind of two things come through a lot in social media and different articles and publications that are going around with the shift in education now in this environment across the whole world, really. And one thing that kind of played on my mind at the start was when we build engaging online lessons, you know, it's about what platform we're using and some people are using Google Classrooms and some are using Zoom and some are using Google Drive, and there's just Kahoot's got some great stuff. There are some amazing platforms out there that are going to make this easy for us or easier. But I think at the same time, so like I know Google, for example, has said that they can't keep up just yet because this has been thrown at them as quickly as we have. So all of the features that we want in Google Classrooms don't necessarily exist yet, or they haven't ironed out all the wrinkles because they're trying to keep up with us and no one had warning. So there are some great platforms out there, but everyone is learning along the way. And when I first started thinking about this, I thought I would go down the platform of and the idea of sharing different ways that you can teach, like literally deliver lessons. But that's not really always up to us as individuals. And I didn't want to do that if some only used Google Classroom and some use Drive and some use Zoom and whatever other things you might be using, Microsoft, whatever, because I don't think that that is what makes the engaging lesson. I think it really is all of those things you've already shared. And so the engaging teaching part doesn't come from what platform you're using or how you're delivering it or where your students are connecting online. The engaging part comes from you as a teacher. And I think it's going to be too easy for us to get hung up on, well, this platform only lets me do this, or I can't do this feature that I know another teacher is doing at whatever school. And instead we have to ask ourselves, what do we have available to us? And what do I already know my students love and learn and connect with that I can bring into the platform I have available. I think that's what is going to make these lessons engaging. So it's about asking, how can I still make our lessons fun? How can I still make sure that there's some student agency in what I'm doing? How can I make sure there's high energy? Even though it's on a screen, we can get high energy happening. How can I make sure that those relationships are still high? How can I make sure that our students are still connecting and involving in ways that are hands-on for them? And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But they're all the things that are going to make lessons engaging for your students. And I think that as we go down this path, that's what we need to keep in mind. That's what we need to remember as we continue into the unknown, is that we know what good engaging teaching looks like. Now we just have to ask ourselves, how are we going to do that in a different environment? How are we going to do that in an environment that isn't the classroom? Does that resonate with you guys? Does that make sense? I'm just going to drink more of my coffee because I feel like I need it. Yeah, totally. Great. Yeah, so I imagine we do have a suite of different platforms people are using here. And I don't want to get bogged down in that. And I'm no IT guru, so I don't want to go down that path. But let's remember what we do well and just ask ourselves, so how can we bring that into a screen environment? And remember, our students, when they're not at school, most of them are on screens a lot. So they're used to it. We just have to now fit into their world a little bit more. Great. Let's keep going. Yeah. So someone mentioned here, right, yeah, so someone's concerned about internet quality. They just lost me for 5 minutes. Oh no. Yeah, unfortunately, it's out of our hands, isn't it? And we have to be flexible with what we've got. And this is where I think we're so used to having our students in our classroom for, you know, a session if you're a high school teacher, or all day if you're a primary school teacher. And we don't have that now. We don't have the opportunity to have them with us the whole time. And so 5 minutes that you might lose while you're managing something that happened on the playground, or 5 minutes where you were lost time because the fire alarm went off, or whatever it might be, it's almost like you can't afford to lose 5 minutes now, because that time we have is even more essential because we have less of it. But we have to be flexible and go with it. And I think that's where it comes down to quality over quantity, which is what we'll talk about as well also. But one of the things that is really crucial when we establish this online learning environment, and I'm just seeing who said it before, Lisa, it was you. You said relationships are really important when it comes to building engaging lessons. And, you know, I couldn't agree more. It doesn't matter what you're doing in a lesson if you don't have that connection with your students first, if you don't have that relationship, and if you don't have those connections and relationships built amongst students in your class, then we just know learning isn't as effective or as powerful. And as we move into this online space, we have to go back to building connection. And I think as I watch teachers scramble to try and put online lessons together and build units of work online and navigate a new platform, we've forgotten that connection comes first, because without it, there is no learning. And we need to maybe press pause and rebuild connection with our students in an online environment. Because if we don't do that, we're going to be, and our students are going to be distracted by whatever's going on, and they haven't got those cues for learning. So in a school or in a classroom, we have these unwritten cues that let our students know it's time to learn, and we have them too. You wouldn't go to a staff room to learn or run a lesson, because when you go to your staff room, that's a place to chill out and have a coffee and connect with your colleagues. So, it's about the environment. When you go to your classroom, though, it's about teaching and learning. And we need to set that up for our students the same, because at the moment, our students know screens at home predominantly for gaming or socializing with friends. And we haven't yet set them up to know that screens are for learning, and that when they see their teacher on the screen, it's for learning. When a student goes to school, they have certain cues like wearing a uniform, going into a classroom. The physical environment of their classroom is also a cue that learning happens here. And we've taken away those cues because they no longer exist. They're not needed. Now, I know that some schools are asking their students to wear uniform when they are coming onto an online lesson, because the uniform is a symbol that says, I am now ready for school. And when I'm ready for school, I'm ready to learn. So we have to go back to asking ourselves, have we built connection in an online environment first? Just like we would spend the first week of school getting to know our students, setting up our classrooms, setting up your code of conduct or class rules, or this is how we behave, whatever you call them, setting up workspaces, and this is how we interact in this space, and this is what this space is for, or when I do this hand signal, this is how you respond. You know, we spend time at the start of the year setting all of those things up so that our classroom can function optimally and our environment can thrive and our students can learn. And we have to do the same in this environment. We have to build connection first. So I was thinking about, how do you build connection in a classroom where it's online, where you don't have students to connect with face-to-face, and you don't have an environment to build? And I was wondering what that would look like. So I've come up with 20 different ways that you can build connection first. So it's a bit of a bingo thing, and we'll be sharing this with you at the end of this webinar in an email that will come out, or I'll put it on the Real Schools Academy page later. So if you jump over to Facebook later on today, you'll be able to find it there. But it's 20 ways that you can build connection first. And I think this is where it has to be fun. This is where we have to let our students know that, yeah, everything is different for us too. So, you know, take your students on a tour of your house, pick your laptop up and walk around with them in a Zoom meeting or whatever it might be that you're using, and show them that this is now your new working environment. Just like they have a learning environment, this is what it looks like. Show them a photo of your desk so they know what a desk space can look like, and get them to share as well what their learning environment looks like at home, because they're going to have to, someone said I have to clean it first, that's hilarious, because they're going to have to connect with that as well. Have a breakfast meeting with them. Just sit down and eat breakfast together, you know. Share bits of your life with them. Introduce your family members, interview a family member, show your pets to them. This is the environment we're now going to be teaching from, and they're going to be working from. And I think if we just open up the space that says this is okay, we know that in the background you might have a little brother or sister, or you know what, you might have a young child who might just pop in your lesson to ask you a question or something, and that's going to be okay. So we have to build connection around the idea that our environment is different. And I think you can do that in lots of different ways. You know, you can share with them your photo album. So get the photo albums out, blow the dust off, or build a slideshow if all of your photos are online, and just share some moments and memories with them so they can know you on a more personal level. What else can we do? We can do things like have a trivia game where you're just playing trivia and you're just playing a game together. That's a bit of fun. Like, use Kahoot, set it up, make it happen. Have a Q&A session with them where they can ask you any question within reason that is going to help them understand you more. Or maybe they just want to know more about your home because they can see something in the background and they want to know what it is, or whatever. So yeah, have a dance with them. Absolutely. Someone wrote dance. I think learn the latest TikTok thing and dance in front of them, and then challenge them to do the same, or play an instrument to them. Fantastic. Read a book to them. Have a lip sync battle. I love it. Do karaoke with them. Yeah, some of these are on our bingo list as well. Yeah, just get a bit fun and silly like you would in a classroom. And because that's how we build connection with our students, isn't it? It's how we let them know that we're human. And even though we're not physically there, we're still there. Yeah, each student can choose their favorite song and then dance, and the class can dance together. Absolutely. Do a workout with them. Do like a 10-minute workout with them, and then challenge a kid to do it the next day. So then you're all getting active and doing something together. There are so many different ways that we can now connect with our students, rather than just making it, sleeping lines is going to be real strange. Yeah, it's going to be real strange. Rather than just make it about learning. I think there's like a sense of panic around, oh my goodness, we have to start learning right now. I don't think that 1 week where we're kind of fluffing about because we haven't figured it out yet, and then another week that we really spend on true connection, is going to hurt our students that much. I think it's important to them because it says, you know what, we're people too, and this is hard for us. And yeah, working from a desk at home is hard too. But let's do it together. Let's share those environments together. Show me what your desk looks like. Show me what you have for breakfast. Show me, I want to see your pets. yeah, we need to detach ourselves from content and be creative. That is so what it's about. We need to remove ourselves from that idea that all we do is teach, because it's not all we do. In a classroom, we do so much more. And I'm sure you've all seen the graphics where it's like a teacher that has about 30 or 40 hats on it, and every hat has a different thing on it. I'll try and find it and share it on Real Schools Academy. Again, it's a great reminder that we don't just teach. Pajama day, you can totally do that online. I love that. But often, not today, but often I will have pajamas on the bottom and a shirt on top. So there you go. It's totally okay to let your students into your life a little bit now and rebuild that connection before we learn, just like you would if it was the start of the year. So whilst there is a lot of hype around, we have to get learning and we have to make it happen and it has to happen now, we owe it to ourselves and our students just to pause a little bit and maybe go, you know what, let's build connection first, because we know that is what drives learning. Yeah, so a great idea, yeah. Connection first, and if it takes a week, so be it. That's right, our students aren't going to miss out. Students can share something fun with the class, bring lots of positivity. I love that. You can start a lesson with a virtual gratitude jar, or I can't remember the name of the platform, someone might know it, where you type and it comes on on a wall, like you're throwing posters on a brick wall. I can't remember what that's called. Padlet, there you go. Yeah, use Padlet, where you type on Padlet and everyone types up something that is a positive experience for them today, or something that they're grateful for. Yeah, they're never not learning. That is totally it. And I think part of this is also letting our students know that school isn't just about learning in terms of an academic frame, that this social emotional connection stuff we know is huge, and we have to just look at doing it in a different way. So that's my first real message about building engaging online lessons, which I think is, it has to be the starting point, right? Let's start with that. I'm mindful of time, so I'm going to keep going. Thank you for everyone with your input on that too. That's great. And I will get that bingo out to you. So quality over quantity. Sorry, I'm just going to have a drink. This again, we see this in the classroom, but if we link this back to about a different learning environment, we don't have 4 or 5 hours with our students anymore. We just don't. And I know some schools are saying that they will provide 5 or 6 hours of learning, which is fantastic, but we don't have control over our students' lives in the sense that they're going to be in front of us, and they go out to lunch at this time, and they go out to break at this time, and school ends at this time. We have to be a little bit kind and flexible, knowing that some students their lives are going to be a little bit more chaotic, or their parents are working from home as well, so they might not be able to attend every live session that you're providing, or they might have 4 other siblings and not that many devices. And so there are going to be some complexities and things here that we need to navigate. And I think one of the ways that we get around that is, same for teachers too, that we get around that is by knowing that this is about quality. So the time that we do have with our students, the time that we do deliver things face to face, we need to go back to all of those things we know that are engaging for our students. We need to use what we know about connection, and then we need to bring in quality. So I'm not saying that what we do in our classroom sometimes isn't quality. I'm just saying, when I think about, if I was back in a classroom, it's that quality explicit teaching that I would have to prioritize in face-to-face time over playing that game, right? But a game or providing something where they consolidate learning is something that they can do without you. You can teach it online, and then they can go and do it at another time. So it's this face-to-face time that we are now limited to, that instruction time that I'm talking about, where we have to think, what is quality right now? We also know that attention spans on screen times are probably going to be limited, and kids will get fidgety, and they won't be able to sit for as long, and we won't be able to always know who's going to show up, or if they're going to show up 2 days in a row. And so it's about asking yourself, what is essential learning right now? What are the fundamentals and the foundations that I know my students need to learn, and how can I deliver that effectively in a fun way that's engaging, and then give them something else to do at a time that suits them, knowing that they probably can't sit on a computer for 2 or 3 hours at a time. And we don't want that. We don't want that either. So I don't think it's about providing 7 or 8 hours worth of work and and having them always having something to do. It's about going, this is the instruction we need to give our students in terms of essential learning. So know where you're going, know what you're over. If you use learning intentions or WALT or one of those things, be explicit and know exactly what the learning is. Know how to get that out, and know that if in a classroom you did it in 3 days, it's probably going to take 5 days, and that's okay. No one's going to miss out. But what we want to be doing is we want to know that the time our students are live with us or watching a recorded video or doing something that they're handing in online, that it is about that quality and essential learning. And then we can fill that other space by giving them games to do or treasure hunts to go on or scavenger hunts and doing creative writing and playing a maths game and doing something that's a bit more practical, cooking in the kitchen and recording the procedure. All of those little things that they now have at their fingertips that we maybe haven't seen as opportunities for learning. Like someone said before, everything is learning. So the quality will come from us when it's face-to-face online. And that might mean that you have to let go of some of those things that you love to do that are really fun, because we don't have the same ability to do that now. We don't have our classroom, we don't have our resources, and we don't have the same control over our students anymore. What we do have control over is the quality that we can give them in the time we have. So go back to that. And then, if we're looking at quantity, what else do we want them to do? This is where the fun stuff and the engaging stuff can come in as well. We do have the option of students sharing that through photographs or making quick videos. Most of the students I taught are more IT literate than me and could put together all kinds of things. So it's about that student agency as well, handing it over to them and trusting them that they are going to stand up and deliver in this space. They're going to come to the party too. They're going to want to make you proud. They're going to want to know that they're doing a good job. Often students come to us for that need and that desire to look for affirmation, to be told that they're great, that we care about them. So they're still going to want that, and we want to give that to them as well. So how do we deliver our quality through face-to-face, and then how do we provide them with other things to do that are fun? I think that's really important. I've just got some comments, so just give me 1 second. Yeah. Someone's talking about attendance. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. And I think we just have to watch that. We just have to keep watching attendance. It doesn't mean that we don't show up, though. We have to keep showing up for our students, absolutely. And then, yeah, it's like any day in the classroom. It doesn't matter what you plan. It may not always happen. You can plan an amazing lesson and you're really excited about it, and then all of a sudden your students take you off on some tangent and you don't get it done. So there's going to be all kinds of different things. Yeah, some issues around parents giving authorization for kids' pictures to be published. Yeah, so always do check in with the policies your school has around media and things like that. Yeah, definitely be aware of that. If students are taking a photo of work and it's anonymous, or it's just coming to you though, in like a Google Classroom environment or whatever that might be, if there's no faces, that should be okay. But again, just check in with your school around what their media policies and things are. Definitely. All right, what do we got? So I think one of the things that kind of sprung up when I was putting this together is that there are 3 F's to keep in mind: fun, free, and friendly. And this is for all stakeholders. So this is for you, this is for your students, and this is for parents. Whatever we're delivering to get high engagement for our students, it has to be fun, it has to be free, and it has to be friendly. We know what fun looks like. We know what fun looks like in our lessons. We know that what fun looks like for our students. We know what fun is for us to deliver, because when it's fun for us to deliver, that's where we get excited, we become animated, we become more engaged with it. And our students need that more than ever in an online environment. It needs to be fun for them to engage with it. And it needs to be fun for parents if they're doing it, if they're getting involved, or it just needs to be fun for them to watch their students do something fun. There's going to be an element of joy that parents will now be able to have watching their students learn. And if they're watching that happen in a way that is fun, I think that's going to be really positive. If it's something they can get involved in and there's time to do that, even better. So, it comes back to fun. Free. Free goes with ease. What I mean by free is that it's available. We're asking students to do things that they have that are either interactive online that we're providing, so they're not off Googling who knows what and trying to find all kinds of things. So it's free and it's right in front of them. It's free because you're asking them to do things that are already in their house. You know, most kids have Uno cards or playing cards. Most kids have Lego. Most kids have some kind of Jenga. There's Monopoly in houses. There's Scrabble in houses. There's kitchen equipment. What do our students have in front of them? What do they have that is available to them? You know, you can learn almost any maths operation in no matter what year level you are in, whether you're in kindergarten or year 10, and you can play a game with Uno cards or a deck of normal cards. That learning is endless when it comes to being able to use resources like that. Dice and dominoes, same kind of thing. So it's not just about finding a worksheet or finding a question and doing it online, but it's what have students got access to now that maybe we didn't have in our classroom that we can use, and how can we get them to do that in a way that is free and not having to think about printing out endless amounts of worksheets, or we do not want them popping to the shops at all. We don't want that. Assessment is the same. Yeah, so assessment's going to come up. And look, to be honest, I haven't thought about what assessment will look like online or done a lot of looking into that, but maybe if that's something we can do later on if there's a need for that, for sure. And I think free for parents is really important. We don't want our parents scrambling thinking they have to print out thousands of sheets or go and find this thing or have access to that when they don't. We want to eliminate stress, and that comes with friendly too. We want it to be friendly and easy. If we can, we can certainly look at that assessment stuff, sure. If we know that it's friendly for our students, so keep in mind our students are probably already going to come being quite anxious, quite unsettled, quite unsure about knowing how this is going to work. Lots of our students are used to having someone with them all the time, be it you off in the distance or another adult in the classroom, or even just a peer with them, a colleague, a friend in their classroom. And that's gone. So we want to reduce the amount of anxiety that they might be feeling anyway by just making everything friendly for them. So they already feel that instant success as they walk into a classroom, as they step into their online classroom. It's just going to help them feel a bit more comfortable. Friendly for you too. You know, we don't want to be putting ourselves in an amount of stress where it's like, where you feel like, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to deliver that. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to deliver that. It's got to be friendly for you. So if you find yourself in that state of panic because you want to do something and you can't, or you're not sure, it's not working, or whatever it might be, you need to ask for help. There are, I'm sure, a range of people that you can connect in. You can ask me as well. It has to be friendly for you. It has to be friendly for your students, as we mentioned, and it has to be friendly for parents. So the same thing. We don't want our parents to be stressing about having to get something ready or print something out, or looking at something and going, something that their students have to do and then they're having to teach it, or something is missing, or a child's being asked to do something and they don't know how to do it. On that, what's just come to mind, and I was putting together something for Real Schools Academy yesterday. One thing that I think is really important here is that idea of modelling. So everything that you want your students to do, you have to do it first. So going through that I do, we do, you do process like you would in your classroom is going to be essential. A little bit limited on the we do thing because that idea of shared learning is maybe a bit limited, but thinking about how you could do that creatively as well is always an option. But that I do thing, so that modelling, that we do first, that's for you, for that clarity of essential learning. And then also it's for your students so they can see, but it's also for your parents. So it's so your parents know what the learning is, because we have too seen that parents are coming out saying, well, I don't know how to teach this and I don't know what to do and I don't know how to multiply fractions. And it's not their job to be teaching it. It's that it is part of their role is about supporting their child and making sure their child is engaging with the online learning. But, you know, we're the experts, we're the teachers. So this modelling, the idea of modelling and using different platforms to record yourself teaching or standing at a whiteboard recording, that's going to be really essential, I think, in that friendly element, because you want to set your students up for success. So they're the 3 F's there, that fun, free and friendly. So I can just see lots of comments coming through, so I'm just going to see what people are saying. Yeah, so someone's saying, how are we going to, like, helping younger students engage with this online when they have limited IT? Yeah. What do others suggest? That leads me into my next slide, something about assessment. People talking about Seesaw, Google Classroom. Yeah, so this goes back to that. It is about what platforms you have accessible to you and what your school has said you can use. So it's great to see that some people are accessing things like Seesaw, Google Classroom. Khan Academy has great videos, it absolutely does. YouTube has heaps of stuff. Someone said they bought a whiteboard and they found it helpful. Yeah, spend a little time. This is a great tip. Spend a little time anticipating the barriers to learning in a particular class or misconceptions which may come from delivery. So just like you should do when you're planning a classroom lesson, when you're going to teach it, the preparing stage of a lesson is vital. So it's not just about delivery, it's about preparing what might happen. What questions might students ask? What misconceptions or misunderstandings will they have? What errors are they going to make? In a classroom, your formative assessment helps to drive that because you can see it instantly, or ask a question or a targeted question around learning and get that feedback, and then monitor and evaluate and kind of manipulate teaching to address that. Here, you're going to have to anticipate that earlier. So it is doing that model teaching where you're deliberately making a mistake and then talking through what you might do, or it's where you are, if you're doing a writing lesson, you're explicitly sharing your modeled writing and how you might up level or improve on something and what that looks like. So I always call it sharing your think alouds. So every conversation, everything you say in your head, everything you do has to come out of your mouth as well, because your students aren't mind readers. So it is about getting that out there and sharing everything with them, because they can't ask it past that stage. So there is, I think the prep stage is going to have to be a little bit more thought through, because we don't always have the opportunity to do our formative assessment now. So some people have already started talking about resources and what they're using. I thought we would just spend a little bit of time if people want to have, if they have any resources that they're using or that they think are going to be really helpful in the future, if you want to put them in the comments box, and I'll just read some of them out as we go, or you can write them down as well, so that let's build a bank of resources together. And I'm just going to go through and answer some questions and read a few things out. So what do we got? So there's a few things around Seesaw. Again, this comes down to what your school allows you to use and the platforms that they engage in and what that looks like. So it's not really something that I can get into around that and what it looks like. Yeah, what do we use with students having learning difficulties? So the same thing that you would do in your classroom. Scaffolding is really important. Modelling is really important. It might even be that you provide an additional laser session or workshop just for a few students who you know would struggle. So in a classroom where you know that if you are roaming, they're going to be your focus students, or they're your group on the floor that you work with, or they're a group of students you would provide something different to, you still have to do that in an online forum. It's just getting creative about how you do that. So differentiation is still a priority, and about providing different entry points which meets their student at their point of need so that they can access the learning successfully. And it might mean that you ask that a certain number of students even jump onto the online lesson 10 or 15 minutes before everyone else, so you can do pre-learning with them. If you've got LSAs or TAs in your school, that might be another great thing that they can do, where they can provide some pre-learning, whether it's unpacking vocab or just giving a quick mini lesson or consolidating some skills that they're going to need to bring with them into new learning. All of that should still be happening in some capacity so that we can help our students with learning difficulties. That might be some ways that you can look at setting that up as well. Or finding a video they can watch if you don't have those resources to you. Google Classroom, Education Perfect, people are saying. Seesaw has a great bank of activities. Enriched tasks are really great for problem solving. I agree, I've used those as well. Great way to challenge and engage students, even though you're not there to push. Yeah. Study Ladder's got free stuff. There are a bunch of resources on websites now that you used to have to pay and have subscription to, that are giving away lots of stuff for free. So definitely take advantage of that. Education Perfect. I don't know about that, but I've heard of it. I haven't used it myself. Teach Starter's got lots of good stuff for at-home learning. Yeah. Epic Books, someone has mentioned. Apple Everyone Can Create series is a great start with lots of creative ideas. High school using OneNote, Teams and Zoom. Yeah, I'm stuck on assessment. I'm going to come back to you about, I was going to write myself a note. I'm going to come back about assessment. Just give me a little bit of time to think about that, because I have seen some stuff and I think that sounds like it might be really useful. So we'll do something, keep an eye out. Epic, Teach Starter, Cousin Stars, yeah. I mean, there's heaps. So just scroll through and write down anything that you might want to follow up. Sunshine Books, I know if you teach kindergarten, Little Learners Love Literacy, they also have some free things on their website for decodable readers. Ruth Miskin is doing YouTube stuff. I'm sure everyone's seen like Joe the PE teacher, he's doing things. Yeah, so there's a bunch of things out there as well. There are also, some people have even compiled lists of free websites that you can access, broken up into different. Would it be useful if I found some of those and either put it on Real School, like put it on Real Schools Academy page or something where you can go and find it? Yeah, okay. Oh, I've seen them. Yeah, I'll get around and go and find those. And so make sure you've liked Real Schools Academy page, because I will put up some lists of free websites and things that I've seen getting around. Yeah. Fantastic, I can do that. Okay, thanks everyone for sharing those. I was going to do Q&A, but I feel like we've covered that. Does anyone else have any last questions that they want to throw out there before we wrap up, or anything that Real Schools can bring you later on that would be useful as we move down this? Primary and secondary, yeah, sure. Break it up. So any last questions that people might have? Something about phone contact. I think if they don't have access to technology, I know some schools are doing pickup packs where they can drop in and pick up packs. And if you're doing a phone conference, then you're just checking in, talking them through things, or asking them how they're going. So having those reflection questions. Running webinars for parents on how they can help at home. Something we can add to our list. I think, yeah, that could be definitely really useful. Just going over some of the things that we've talked about today, I'm sure. Supporting families without devices and technology. Yeah, we can look at that too. Yeah, so just remember, when we talk about engaging lessons, it's not about the platform. It's about us as deliverers, and it's about us having connection with our students. So that's really the important thing here that I'm hoping you've been able to take away. Yeah. Feedback. Yeah. You're very welcome, Tasha. Very welcome. Fantastic. It is an overwhelming process for everyone, and I imagine being a graduate teacher is just a little bit more overwhelming for sure. Yeah, and I think keep in mind that this is new for everyone. So when we're talking about what does assessment look like, what does it look like for secondary students, or what does it look like for attendance, or what does formative assessment look like? No one has the answer yet. I don't have answers. Experts don't have answers yet. Teachers don't have answers yet, because it's new. All we can do is kind of keep in touch and go down these pathways together and see what comes up. The best learning we can have, though, is with each other, and just staying true to what we know is great teaching and great engaging lessons, and not getting caught up in that panic that we have to teach and that's all we're here for. If it's not, we wear so many different hats, and we can't forget that. We can't throw everything else away and just think that we're here to teach, because our students don't think that of us either, and that's not who we are. So just connect back in with, if all else fails, have fun with your kids and sing a song, do a dance, read them a story. It's that stuff that our kids love just as much as it is learning. Go back to those games that you play with a deck of cards, or teach them a new thing every week, or do something that is out of your comfort zone and theirs, just to keep that relationship and that fun happening. Yeah. IT skills, check. Yeah. I hear you with all of these, and I don't have all the answers, but we can work on it together. Fantastic. Yeah, check in with your mentors. That is really important. Yeah, we're all learning together. Don't forget that. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So just to let you all know, I did mention Real Schools Academy a bit, so jump over and find the Facebook page. This is Real Schools Academy logo at the top, so check that out. If you haven't already liked that, go there, and I'll pop some of those free resource things that I've seen getting around on there as well. And in a couple of days, this webinar will be up, so you can share with some friends too. We also have coming this week to you, I'll tell you guys first, how about that? We've created a free course as part of our Real Schools Academy that we had designed just for graduate teachers to make teaching a little bit easier. But we feel like with the way everything's going, anyone could benefit from that right now. So coming out this week, we will have a free course available to everyone, which goes through 5 different skills that you can utilize as a teacher, which is all about how you work and operate. So it doesn't matter what year group or year level you teach, you'll be able to engage with that. And they're what I call transferable skills. So they apply to all kinds of things. And we'll also have a Facebook group that you'll be able to join as part of that, where you can connect and learn from each other as well. So again, if that sounds like something you're interested in, let us know, and we will have that information out to you later this week through our socials, and also sign up to our email if you haven't done that, because that's coming. So you're going to be, thanks everyone, you're going to have access to that too. So that's pretty exciting in Real Schools Academy, so make sure you follow that. And also Adam and Simon would have posted the upcoming webinars for the rest of this week that you would have seen. Make sure you jump on those, and if there's anything else, this is how you contact us. And stay in touch. Thank you. I'm just reading those as they come up. They're coming up really fast. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. If you're on holidays, go and enjoy that. Get out and get a bit more sunshine. If you're still at work, you're probably at home anyway. So, take advantage of those little perks too. Fantastic. Thanks. Thanks, everyone. All right. I'll see you all later.